Well, the UK-based pharmaceutical company AstraZeneca and the EU have yet to resolve their dispute over vaccine supplies to the bloc. On Wednesday, the EU said the pharmaceutical giant had pulled out of talks, but AstraZeneca says they're still at the table. The dispute stems from an agreement over the supply of vaccines to the EU this year. AstraZeneca has lowered the number of doses it says it can distribute to the bloc, a decision that has frustrated EU leaders. Let's go to Geneva, where Maro Ottiglio is standing by for us. He's a global health policy expert and managing director at High Lantern Group. Mario, thanks for being with us. Where's the disconnect here?
Yes, good evening, and thank you for having me. Well, let's say there is a lot that we do not know yet about this, right? And what's at stake is really everybody's health. There's a lot of speculation. There's a lot of conflicting statements. I will say that no part is coming out really clean. You have on one side the commission that was stung by criticism of the slow initial rollout of vaccines. They have threatened an export ban. There's been some insinuation of profiteering from, by AstraZeneca, but then on the other side, the company is actually making the vaccine available at cost price. But then on the other side, AstraZeneca has received a lot of money from the EU, but then yet refused to distribute the vaccine made in the British plants. I mean, at least that it seems. I mean, I really hope we are not witnessing a case of vaccine nationalism or maybe other logics. We don't need this at this point. And I will say that maybe this is the demonstration that to really face this challenge ahead of us, we need to keep the vast majority of the work that we have done so far through multilateral mechanism and not bilateral like we did a couple of years ago with the H1N1.
Mario, you really got to the heart of the matter in your first answer, which is that everybody's health is at stake here. So what's the impact of this disagreement that we're seeing between EU leaders and AstraZeneca over this?
Well, I mean, the impact is really like, I think it's an issue of communication, right? What's happening here? I think this situation is not helping basically people because really, last year in 2020, this was the year where unique human ingenuity at work developed basically vaccine in record time. We never seen that really in history of vaccine development. And this year is the one where actually we need to face the biggest challenge ever, which is a logistical challenge that we have never seen, and we can only address this through solidarity because it's possible to overcome this for sure. But we need to stand united, and we're kind of going into making the same mistakes that we have done with the H1N1, where basically a lot of a small number of countries, of rich countries, bought up all the vaccine supplies, and then a lot of other countries were left to fend for themselves. We were trying to avoid this time, but it seems that we are stuck to square zero.
Yeah. And the EU's contract with AstraZeneca, that's confidential and it can't be released without an agreement from both sides. The EU has asked AstraZeneca for permission to release that contract. What do you think will happen next? What's the way out of this?
Well, I mean, first of all, we'll really never know, right, what's really happened. And if we read contracts, we'll know. But I think this will never happen. I think what's next, it's a good, it's something where we have to focus on. And I think there is really some sort of looking into fair distribution of vaccines and looking into really supporting some of the mechanisms that have been already set up, like the COVAX facility, which is a remarkable achievement, right, put in place just to avoid what happened during the pandemic a couple of years ago. I think, we are learning on the job, right? Nobody on this planet has ever dealt with such a massive health challenge. So we have gone through the Ebola, through the H1N1, but there is nothing really comparable. And I would think, when you look into the next steps where, the perception is that, oh my God, we will not make this. Well, we've got to have patience here because there are always factors that can play into a massive production and a big logistical challenge, right? There is a lot of numbers that can help us. WHO today was saying, well, let's not forget that to get the number of doses that we need, we will really need a long time. If we want to immunize 70% of humans on this planet, we will need kind of 12 billion doses of any two-dose vaccine. And if the capacity is like 4 billion per year, I mean, we're going to go till 2024. So we've got to need, patience here. And patience can only be achieved, with transparency on one side, because this community has suddenly moved from being an expert scene for a few to the top of the family dinner table, right? So there is a responsibility that is coming. The EU has done very strong statement. I have never seen, so many strong statements in a row. And they have the need for transparency because, of course, this is taxpayer money at stakes. But on the other side, the companies need to understand that basically the level of responsibility here for them is beyond anything that we have seen, because this is not business, it's not philanthropy, right? So transparency, patience, and then good communication, Mario, I will say.
We really appreciate that summary, and you make some really great points there. Maro Ottiglio, we have to leave it there, but thanks for coming on. We appreciate it.